Hi, everybody.
Hello,
Many thanks
hello.
to Julian Primo for letting me use his music. That's his Mardi Gras song. He wrote it for Dr. John, but then never got it to him to see if he would record it or not. So he
Mm,
just hung on to it for himself. And I was like, "Can I use it?" And he's like, "Yeah, go
perfect,
ahead."
perfect.
So I wanted something a little up and peppy to get going. So
Mhm.
hello, hello, everybody. We've got Donna and Pegasus and Bora Bora, and who gave some very lovely compliments to us the other night from Colleen's channel. So thank you, Bora Bora, for that. And Moonstone Girl, and did I say Denise? And Denise.
Yep.
Oh, and look, Heart Center Tarot. Somebody let her in. I don't
Oh
know.
God, that's it. Show's
Yeah.
over.
Um, and Louise and Elaine and Maureen. Oh, wow. We got all kinds of folks here. Thank y'all for another edition of Sisters of the Mystical Tarot. And oh, look, somebody let Dragonfly Crystals in.
Yeah. Oh, her too.
Hi, Kathy. Hi, Jeannie or Jean. I'm not sure which way you say
Jean.
it. Jean. Okay. And so, anyway, our topic tonight was with everything that's been going on for the last few weeks, it just kind of struck me, how do we handle fear when things go wacko, when things go awry, they go topsy turvy, upside down, whether if it's something personal, something in the family, something at work, something socially, something politically. I mean, we all have instances of things just being flipped on its head, and then you're stuck trying to figure out what do I do next.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people, that can create it can really trigger a deep seated fear that almost immobilizes them. It's like they can't do anything. They don't know what to do, and
Yep.
they kind of just get stuck, and
Yep.
it could be very debilitating. And for others, that you get angry and you fight back. For others, you um maybe hit outside substances that make you forget for a while, or there's just so many different ways that people deal with fear. I mean, they take it out on family members, take it out on coworkers, go wreck their car. I mean, I've seen people do some wild stuff. Um, and so that was what I was thinking of tonight. And I will let Marina, you can go first with just some ideas on kind of how do you deal with that kind of thing when it approaches or hits you or
Mm. You know what? With me, it was a learned response because I did. Yeah, there was a time where I kind of hit the dark night of the soul, and I distinctly remember at one point standing in the middle of the living room, looking around, and being absolutely paralyzed by what I needed to do next. So I literally turned in circles and just looking at things turned in circles. Um, and I think it was after doing a little bit of the shadow work and whatnot, realizing that um, I didn't need to handle everything at once. The situation, it looks really, really big and looming and so on. And I didn't have to look at it as a big thing. I could just handle little portions, just one little thing right now. And it's kind of like how do you eat an elephant? A bite at a time, right? Yeah.
right.
And then getting through that and realizing that um, I had let different fears control control my life. So It was a choice. I could make a choice to let it control me, or I could control it. Ultimately, change is going to happen anyway. You can't stop change. So you can look at it as something that is being thrown at you to test you, or you could say, okay, you know what? Maybe there's another way to do this. Maybe there's a better way. I'll take a look. And it's when I kind of gave in to the feeling of, okay, spirit, you're in charge. Where do you want me to go? That things really started to move and get to the point that I don't feel fearful anymore. I know that I can handle it. I've been right. I've
Down,
been in the
down,
shadow.
yeah, we've all been down at the bottom of the barrel and have
Yeah.
to pick ourselves back up.
Yes,
Amen to that.
Yeah, so low you got to reach up to touch the bottom. Yeah,
Reach up to
we've all
touch the
survived
bottom.
that. We're stronger than we realize. So
Mhm.
fear now is if if things happen and they kind of I get that immediate reaction. It's like, oh no, you don't. No, you get behind me.
You already know it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's my way of kind of handling fear and realizing that it is a conscious choice to see it as something positive or something negative. It's something that's going to propel you forward or something that's going to keep you behind.
Mhm.
And I prefer forward.
Yeah. That's a lot easier
It
on
is a lot.
on yourself, because
Mhm.
if you don't, you go through a lot of pain and suffering.
Yeah. And end
Because
up in the same spot anyway.
yeah, and you can't change what's going to happen. Change is, like you have said before, inevitable. It is constant. Change is constant.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I liked when you said that on Messages for Lightworkers. It's so true.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You probably have
No,
more.
no, no.
I
No,
just have to say, I totally agree with you. I do know that as I was younger, starting out, and there'd be conflict or things in the home or in the environment that I, as a sensitive, empathic Pisces, did not want to tune into.
Yeah.
I would tune out and watch old movies, or even as a tiny little kid, I'd be watching Shirley Temple movies or something,
Yes.
or Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire movies. So that was my escape. But I didn't take those things on as my own stuff, but I did escape from it in a way. But as I grew up and I realized that I held a lot of things in that I had intuitive hits on in my life as a young adult. Had I just said them and confronted them, I would have been able to blast through everything.
Yeah.
But I still held them in and internalized it till I got to the point where I had to just let it all out. And so I think over time, it certainly got to that same point as you, Marina, where I was able to just, that whatever that is happening in my life is not going to control my happiness one way or the other. I am going to choose my joy and happiness. And the world can just show up how it shows up. I'm still going to be who I am, doing my thing. So
Yeah.
who's going to be happier? The one who just lets change flow. And I didn't say it was easy.
Yes.
It's never easy.
And you have to be mindful, just like Marina. If it comes along and you start to get a reaction, you got to, oh no, I'm not. We're not doing that, and we're not going down that drama road where you're going to engage. And so it's a process. It's a process, no matter what stage you're at. But after all this time, we've gotten to this point where we can identify it pretty quick.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And
which is
send
a
it
nice
back
thing.
if you need to.
Yeah, and yes, and say, "Oh no,
Yeah. Not today, Satan.
not today."
Yeah.
I like what Maureen says. Reading was and still is my escape from fear. Yeah,
Yeah,
me too. A good romance novel or science
yeah, you
fiction
can.
novel, or
Yeah,
you just completely leave the world you're in and you go into this other world with these other people, and yeah.
but if I was
I
going to
didn't-
give advice, Sherry, to anyone, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to
no,
say,
no.
taking
I
a deep
wanted to
breath,
make sure you were finished before I started. So
taking your deep breaths are a game changer in shifting your energy where you're at.
oh yeah.
At those deep breaths, because when we're in fear, we constrict our energy. It's a natural thing.
Yeah.
We breathe,
Fetal
hyperventilate,
position. We go into the fetal
we go
position.
in.
Yeah.
Yes, so that it's constriction. And the more we can open our lungs up, take full breaths, no matter how hard it seems like it is.
Yeah.
It's a game changer. That is the number one thing I would say. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Shari.
No, that's good. That's good. Jean was saying about the same thing. I take deep breaths and become one with my breath, which helps.
Yes, it does.
And that's something that I've learned in the last 5-6 years that I didn't have before. And so when things would happen, I would be kind of like Marina, just standing in the middle of the room and just kind of turning in a circle, like, what do I do? What do I say? Who's going to help me? How do I ask for help? Who
Marina's
do
a
I ask
Libra.
for help?
Marina's a Libra,
Well,
so she's got to balance it all out and know what's going on.
Well, and I'm a Gemini, so I'm used to my twin taking over.
Yeah,
When one side of me freaks out, the other side takes over.
And my moon in Aries says, I'm gonna blow some
Well, see, my
doors
moon's
off.
in Aquarius, so it doesn't help.
Yeah. Not doing
I
that.
mean, it's like from younger days and what, I think back, like when my grandmother died, I literally watched her take her last breath and didn't realize it in the moment until a couple of minutes later, because I had turned to leave the room and I heard my mother say, "I can't find a pulse." And I whipped back around and realized she had passed in that moment. I had heard that last breath.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, what scared me the most in that moment was my mother, who was such a strong person all of her life. She carried things that one person should not have to carry on their own. She literally, like, backed up a couple of steps. One of my grandmother's sisters was there with us that night, and she literally fell apart. She didn't know what to do because that was her mom. And I think it was my mother's reaction that scared me more than my grandmother dying. Was I had never seen my mother break before.
Your
I'd seen her mad as hell. I'd seen her pissed off. I'd seen her fighting. I'd seen her, get upset and cry about something. But I never saw her just break down and shut down in that moment.
You
And I
didn't
think
think
that
she
scared
could.
me.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was
could.
possible.
Yeah, exactly. So of course that would be shocking and make you feel insecure and
I was
vulnerable.
18. Yeah, I mean, I was 18 years old, and it was like, I didn't.
Yeah, and at that moment, she stopped for temporarily, she stopped being your mom and she was another human being in the room.
Yeah.
She was her mother's daughter.
Yeah.
She was in my position. She was the daughter.
Yeah.
In that moment,
Yeah.
And I mean, and I've seen her, I had seen her break down and get upset about things afterwards, but it was that one moment that I saw her completely break down.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
brought in more fear than anything else.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if mama can't handle it, what am I going to do? Yeah, that was my thought. If mama can't handle it, what do I do? I mean, I don't know what to do, because I always look to her to tell me what to do or how to do it. And it was same when my husband died. My mother was the first person I called. And when I don't even remember calling her, she told me the phone rang and she knew instantly that my husband had died. And she picked up the phone and said, "What do you need?" And she said, "All I did was cry mama or mommy into the phone."
Yeah.
And she was like, "I'll be right there." And she hung up. I never even told her. She just knew, that was part of her gift. And she ran across the apartment complex and woke my brother up, because they lived in the same complex, but in two different areas. And they jumped in the car and came out to where we were, and again, she walked in that door and she was in charge. She started giving orders. You do this, you do this, you do this, you tell me what's going on. Because I had shut down in that moment. I didn't know what to do. And various things like that have happened over the years to me, where until I reopened this door back up to spirit and to my guides, I would react with shutdown. I kind of freeze in place. It's like it takes me a minute for everything to restart and then go forward. But that's something that spirit has helped me deal with this go around. It's like 2016, I spent a week in bed with the covers over my head saying, "This didn't happen, this didn't happen, this didn't happen," talking about the orange pumpkin man. This time, I was upset that night, but by the next morning, I was mad.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, no, no. I just refuse. I still refuse to believe it. And now evidence is coming forward to show that there was a reason to not believe it. But it was just the difference in my reaction to what at one time before would have shut me down like always, to this last time of being, no, 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 just no. we're going to do something about it. And I think that that's been a lot of what spirit has been working on me with, is how to deal with that instant of fear when something happens, and it just kind of makes you step back and shut down a little bit. And that's difficult. I have a clip I want to play. In New Zealand, some of you may have seen it already on my community page, but in New Zealand, the New Zealand Parliament, had taken up a 184-year-old treaty with a Maori tribe of New Zealand. And they were trying to redo the treaty so that it would take more of the tribe's rights away.
Yes.
And cede it back to the government. Needless to say, these people weren't too happy about this. But it was what was caught on news film was one of their representatives who's in Parliament. whatever the positions are called, like kind of like a congressman here, similar. And as they were calling roll, are you for or against the bill, so to speak, when they called her name, she went into the Haka, which is a Aboriginal or Polynesian war chant, war cry of this is battle. You know, I had seen one once before when my son was in the Navy, and it was they were on deployment. They were in the Persian Gulf, and the Polynesian sailors on the ship went to the captain and asked if they could perform a haka for the rest of the crew. They said yes. And I got to find the video. I'll have to get with my son again. He filmed it. It was about 25, maybe 30 guys on the ship with them that were either of Polynesian or Asian descent. And they came out and performed a haka. I was stunned when I saw it.
Yeah.
I thought, holy crap. If I saw somebody doing that just before a battle, I would run the other direction. They were terrifying. It was really scary. And then I saw this young woman do this in this clip. And I'm only going to play about a minute of it because it kind of like re-rolls it over and over. But just to give y'all a little taste of how she handled her fear and the people that she represented fear. And it's like, boy, that's something we all need to do, right? Is be able to handle that kind of fear. So here goes. Hopefully it's going to work. Let's see. That's not right.
You want to add her?
Yeah, it's there.
There you
There we go. All right. I couldn't get the button to come up.
Mhm.
So, all right, here we go. And that's it. And that because they just kind of show the same clip. But that was like and it was just a fluke that I even saw this and found out about it. Was this week, Debbie Freebird Spirit had reposted something on TikTok. And I had gotten a notification on it. I thought, oh, what did Debbie put up? So I went and looked, and it was this guy talking about the election here and what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, he referred to this young congresswoman in New Zealand, and he played a little clip. And I was like, whoa, that was really powerful.
Yeah, Maureen says it gave her the chills. Yeah.
Yes.
Gave me the chills, Maureen.
Yes.
It's like, and the thing that she was ripping in the beginning was a copy of the bill.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was ripping it in half to show that no, they do not have an agreement. And from what I understand, they've not been able to have that vote on that bill since then. It's kind of shut everything down.
They felt like they were more powerful than anybody in that room.
And it was
and that's really they were standing in their power when you are doing the haka, when you are you are putting out the
Yeah.
intention. It's the same as, you know how
Oh.
sometimes when well, I generally tell people when they move into a new place,
Mhm.
you know, you want to cleanse everyone else's energy out of it, and you want to claim it as your space. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I always say is you walk in through the front door and you say this loud, this is my house. This is my kitchen. This is my living room. So that you take possession of it. And
Mhm.
Right.
you can end it by saying, you know what? Only those things of God's light and love are allowed anywhere in this vicinity.
Mhm.
But it's letting the spirits that might linger know that no, you're
This
gone.
isn't your playground
Yeah,
anymore.
this isn't your playground. And that's
Yeah.
listening to her and watching her as she's doing that. Yeah, that's a woman standing in her power.
Yeah.
That's what that looks like.
It is.
Yeah.
And the
Beautiful.
fact that there were other members of parliament, those of the tribe and those not of the tribe,
Mhm.
who stood with her and
Yes.
started doing it with her. And the gallery up above was full of the tribal people, as well as others who were there who were doing it up above. That's why it was so loud, because there was probably 50, 75 people total in the room that were all doing this Haka.
Mhm.
And it was like, I know one of the clips I saw, it kept going back to, I guess, who their speaker of their house is. And the look on the man's face was like, sometimes he had a look on his face like, I can't believe this shit is happening, of annoyance, to once I think he realized how many
The
people
support
were involved,
in the building.
that oh shit, we're kind of in deep doo-doo here. Now eventually they got the room to quiet down when she put a stop to it. Said, okay, we're done. We've said our piece. And then they called out the sergeant at arms. They cleared everybody out of the chamber. They cleared the gallery up above, but they've not been able to go back in and do the vote since. Dr.
Mhm.
Ann went in when I posted the original video of the young man that Debbie had posted that I saw. And
Mhm.
Dr. Ann went in and put the words in the Aboriginal tongue of what they
Oh,
were
nice.
saying under the
Mhm.
video for me. And for that, I'm very appreciative, because it kind of like you could kind of read what they were
Yep.
saying, because, when you're that loud, that worked up, that many people go in, if it's not your language, it just sound. You don't really know what the individual words are. But I've
The
already seen some
energy
people
was
say,
powerful.
our Congress needs to do that. But you know what? And I
Yeah.
didn't have time to go look for the clip. We had one of our congresswomen who flat just went to town on whatever committee they were in, that they were trying to pass or get something done, and they were whoever it was, that the committee leader was being kind of very irreverent and whatnot to her and some of the other people in the chamber who were people of color. And she went off. Shades of Jasmine Crockett went off like, oh, but we're not playing this game. And she you could hear
Wow.
and drop in there. It was so quiet.
That's just
And I thought, yeah, that's what it's going to take, are these younger people going into our politics that are like, we're not playing this game anymore. If you want to fight, we're going to fight. And so that gives me hope. But it was at the same time, it was watching all of these people dealing with their fear by meeting it head on.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing Spirit has been trying to teach me these past few years is when something happens and you're in fear, you just got to meet it head on and just be
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not going to let this stop me. I'm not going to cower in the corner. I'm not going to cover my head and pretend it didn't happen. I've got to deal with it.
And it's a funny thing that the minute you face it and you move through it, you look back and you go, oh, that wasn't.
Yeah,
exactly. You look back and think, oh, I did that in no time,
Once you've done it.
Exactly. Think of it in terms of, if, women go through an awful lot when we give birth.
Yeah.
If it was that bad, we would each only ever have one child.
Yeah, exactly.
But the fact that people have more than one tells you that, yeah, you look back and you say, okay, well, you know what? I've done things that were a little more pleasant, but look what I have achieved. Look at my reward after that is, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
We can use fear to propel us forward into not only into action, but into recognizing that as sovereign beings, as part of the one universe, the one collective, that we can handle anything, absolutely anything. And this is just it's a movie. It's a movie, and we can choose to actively engage with the characters, or we can choose to sit back and go, hey, did you see what they did?
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, one of my getaways is
right.
It's just, sorry, Val.
I was just saying, just have cosmic humor out at all, out playing out, because it's the scene of a play. It's just something playing out that.
And one of the ways that I've always dealt with stuff is with a good book or a good movie. With me, it's superhero movies because the good guy always wins, right? So it makes you feel good. They're going through crap in the beginning, all hell breaks loose, but in the end, the good guy wins. Well, in most of them, the good guy wins. But it gives you that feeling of I can do it. I can be like Captain America or Wonder Woman or Batman or Superman or whatever. I can. It gives you that feeling of you see them battle, even though your brain knows that it's make believe and they're not really doing this crap, but it's just like with a good book. You sit back with a good book and you leave this world and go tackle somebody else's problem in their world and watch them come through it. I mean, a good author of a good fiction is by far a better psychologist or counselor than most psychologists or counselors are, because they introduce the characters, they bring the problem, then they show how you resolve the problem. In most cases, I mean, there's some books that it doesn't always work out that way, but on the whole, and so it just shows that there are ways that we can work through our fear to get to the other side, and that's knowing that I have y'all, my sisters here, other readers that are just I'm just as close to, have all of y'all that are in chat. We have this community, knowing that we've all been sticking together. Now, I know there were some people that got some really ugly messages, and we don't need them. If that's your attitude, then you can go find somewhere else to be. But I have to say the majority of the people in our community have been nothing but supportive and encouraging, and just reaching out with what can we do? How can we help? When somebody there's an accident or someone gets sick or there's, somebody's in a wreck or, like when my son had his heart attack, there were people that reached out to help in whatever way they could.
Mhm.
That meant the world to me because I know you by name or by avatar, but for a lot of you, you're still strangers. It's like we kind of know each other, but we don't know each other. It's this weird half world we're in the online community. It's like people, but you don't know people, but you know them, but you don't quite know them. And it's that kind of weird space. But it's a comfort to know that when you need someone there just to virtually give you a hug and tell you it's
Mhm.
going to be okay, that you feel better. But you still have to deal with that fear head on.
Yeah, but it doesn't
And
seem so fearful when someone is holding your hand, or when you feel like, it is easier to handle when we are doing this together. Because you know what? I'll be strong for you when you need me to be strong for you, and you'll be strong for me when I need you to be strong for me. And
right,
that's how we raise all of our vibration. That's how we look forward to good things, and to knowing that whatever is thrown at us, we may not recognize why it's happening now, the way that it's happening now. It's only with the passage of time that we can look back and go, oh, okay, that makes, yeah, all right, I get it. I see why it happened the way that it did. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's kind of the end of my spiel. I don't have much else to add to it. um, and we didn't have any questions this week in the community comments. So I guess we'll
Want to
kind of
do a
go ahead and
general reading, or
yeah, I was just thinking maybe we could do a general
Yeah.
read, just each of us pull a card or two
Yeah, absolutely. On the
and
collective.
just go from there.
And yeah, and before that, just want to remind everyone to please like, share, and subscribe. Go to our channels, give us the support, so that we can raise the algorithm and we can get our message out in front of people who need to hear what we're saying. They just don't know where we are. That's number one.
Exactly.
Number two, on Friday, starting at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm in the mountain, starting at Eastern Standard Time. Please join me on my channel. Shari from Trancing with Spirit and I are putting together a show event, whatever you want to call it, and it's called Shine Your Light. And the purpose is we will gather with like-minded people starting at 6:30. We'll have 6:30 Eastern. Yeah. We'll have a few people who will join us who have different experiences, modalities, and so on. The idea is this is not a political discussion. And we won't be taking questions from the audience, because the whole purpose is that we are going to join together our collective, not collective consciousness, but yeah, maybe our collective consciousness. And at 7 p.m., 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be sending out to the universe light, love, compassion, and unity, the prayer and meditation for that. We're also asking people at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to turn on their porch lights. This is a way that you can do something, right? The turning on the porch light is a physical manifestation of what you're doing. and then stay with us
Exactly.
because it's when it hits 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll do the same thing. At 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we'll do the same thing. And Pacific will do the same thing. We're asking you to leave your lights on all night, and we're hoping that this is going to be rolling, turning on the lights. In the meantime, between the 7 o'clock times, we'll have people who are going to talk a little bit about astrology, a little bit about positivity, about how you, how to live in joy, how to, look to maybe different modalities, maybe looking at Reiki or crystals, but the idea is to make everyone feel good, to give you the power to stand with everyone else and to just send out light, love, compassion, and unity to the world, to the universe, wherever it might be needed. So please join me. You can get a little more information in the community tab on my page. But yes, inviting everyone to come and join us for that. And like I said, very, very positive. We'll leave the politics out of it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay,
Yeah, I do too.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
I do too.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Who wants to go first and read a card?
Yeah.
Well, they're saying to establish better boundaries. So really, it's everything we were talking about today. Being in your own energy, in your own soul energy, feeling your own soul energy, taking those deep breaths and releasing all energy that is not yours from whence it came. Whether you're outside at the store and you come home, do it. Say, I release these energies back to whence they came in light and love. And I pull my own energy field back in, and I'm surrounded by the pure white light of divine source. For extra measure, Archangel Michael cut all the cords. This simple, quick practice will save you a lot of trouble. And you'll be in your own feelings, your own energy. Because sometimes in this day that we're living through, there's a lot of energy in the collective that you may not feel comfortable taking in. And that helps you to keep centered and balanced within yourself. So that's the card of boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
And I pulled two cards because I wanted to get a little more of an explanation. The first one that I pulled was all tied up. And that's kind of how a lot of people are feeling all tied up. And I want to remind you that, you know what, when physically, if you are all tied up, the worst thing you could do is to fight. The worst thing that you could do is to rebel against it because you make the knots tighter. So rather than go to I got to get out of here, just go inward and say, okay, all right, well, here's a knot. I can just very quietly work on this one and move on to the next one. But you go in, you don't go out. And when you do that, when you're able to release whatever is making you feel trapped, release it, and then you get a blossoming abundance. And abundance comes in all shapes and forms. It can be spiritual abundance, financial abundance, physical abundance, whatever. Yeah, just surrender and welcome in all the good things that are going to happen once you give up the urge to to fight against it.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, the first thing I drew was the Emperor. I thought, okay, but I think it's just a reminder to us that there are traditions, there are standards in place.
Yeah.
Because then I pulled a couple of clarifiers. One was the Seven of Pentacles, which is trust what's in place and know that things are working in the way they need to work. And then the last thing I drew was the Page of Swords, which again is telling us, let it go, trust in what's going on, put your faith where you know things work. And I just think that's kind of powerful for all of us, is just to trust in the system, trust in we may not agree with it, we may not like it, but if we trust in it and we just trust that things will work out for the best. I think, as they say, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. I mean, it's kind of like that, you prepare for the worst, but in the meanwhile, we pray for the best, for the least of it to happen. And
And don't forget, just because we're everyone is looking to the current administration to hurry up and do something. Okay, it takes time to put things together. And the last thing that you want to do, if you ever notice, when the police go to raid a home, they don't tell the people that are around that home, oh, could you not park in front of that house? We're going to be raiding it tomorrow. Right? So you don't telegraph what it is that you're going to do. Have faith that things are happening, and it is going to happen when it is most beneficial for everyone. It may not suit you personally at that time, but this isn't about each and every one of us personally. This is about us as a collective. So what is best for the collective? And it is going to work out. Just have faith. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all for coming. And who's up next week?
Next week, hold on. After Shari is Val.
Val. Okay. Val's next week.
Val. But maybe we
next week is Thanksgiving week. Yeah.
Yeah, Thanksgiving week. So, it's the 27th, it's the Wednesday, it's a day before Thanksgiving. Could be busy. So, for the time being, how about we'll just say, check our community pages. We'll let you know what's happening next week on Wednesday, Thursday in there, because we want you to enjoy your Thanksgiving, but we'll also, some of us who've already had Thanksgiving might be here to, chit chat with those of you that
and those of us who feed everybody early and then push them out the door, then by that
I don't have any travel plans, so I mean I can definitely do it on that day. And we'll see.
Yeah. So just check our community tabs and you'll know what we're doing.
We'll let you know for sure. But
So thank you, book. Yeah. And thank you, everyone. I hope that you guys realize that as much as we might elevate your mood and your energy, you do the same thing for us.
Y'all who do that for us. Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very much so.
Yeah. When we say thank you, we mean it. Honestly, we really mean thank you. So
yeah. It can really be overwhelming sometimes. So it really makes a difference when y'all reach out and just let us know we got your back. And
yes, absolutely.
a lot of times that's all you need to hear. So
Yeah.
don't stand in fear. Don't let it hold you back. As Mel likes to say, according to what his guides told him when he got cancer, is don't let fear stand in front of you and block your way. Let it stand behind you and push you forward. Or
Perfect.
something to that effect. So
Yes.
and so let the fear push you forward so that you can deal with it and be done with it.
Absolutely.
Y'all have a great evening. Have a great week.
Yes.
Thank you, Marina. Thank you, Val, for coming
Thank
tonight.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
And,
It was wonderful.
We will see everybody
Yep.
when we see